Welcome, everyone, to the I'm Not Dumb But podcast. I'm your host for today, Victor, joined always by Rob.
Hello.
Chris.
Yup.
And Caesar.
How y'all doing?
Whoa, that's my line. That's my line.
Actually, introduce me again.
And Caesar.
Yo.
So let me hear your best voiceover / commercial voice.
Welcome to Mike's Auto Repair Shop. No, that was terrible. That was bad.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I'm not going to Mike's with that kind of voice.
Definitely not now. That guy will screw you left and right.
He's on a watch list.
Here we go. In a world full of erectile dysfunction, see Alice. That's all I got.
Oh, okay. All right. I think you went two different directions there. It was pretty good. Chris, what do you got?
Oh, man.
Just do it in Korean.
Chris is buffering.
Let me see it. There's... Yo, I have nothing. I don't know. I can't do this.
Do a movie preview.
I can't.
Chris, you
Any movie
need
preview.
to get that confidence. 75% is confidence. It's
Yeah.
amateur shit. Yeah.
All right, guys, that was something. So you guys need some work. I don't think any commercial is going to be calling you anytime soon, but you're in luck. Our guest today has had a nearly 40-year career voicing over 50 audiobook explainer videos, radio and TV ads, movie trailers, documentaries. Also, spending time as an on-air radio personality for Z-Rock in Dallas, where he hosted a weekly show called Headbangers Heaven. Our guest today is Mike Payne, and he's going to help us answer the question, I'm not dumb, but how do you become a voice actor?
Welcome
To the I'm Not Dumb But
podcast, where we won't claim to have the answers to life's deepest questions,
But we'll give you an exciting journey
into the realms of knowledge you never knew you needed,
might be mainstream.
but not common knowledge. From artificial intelligence to conspiracy theories, no topic is too taboo for us to explore. Let's get curious together.
All right, welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you, Victor. Good to be here.
Let's just get into it. Let's start at the beginning.
Sure.
When did you figure out people wanted to listen to your voice?
I was a 17-year-old kid, but when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, my dad, for Christmas, bought my brother and I one of those little mini tape recorders, and, you hit the old play and record thing. And we just did silly voices and mimicked stuff on TV, and it was really just kid stuff.
Yeah.
And at 17, I was in college, and I thought, maybe I could do something with this. I don't know. So naive 17-year-old, I started picking up the phone and cold calling video production companies and cable TV places. And one guy by the name of Morris Rose picked me up on just saying, hey, kid, come over and I'll teach you some stuff and we'll do some commercials. And my first gigs were paid gigs, and I was doing commercials for a cable company, like a restaurant, a copier place, stuff like that.
What was your spiel
cool.
like? How did you tell
The
that?
hell of a salesman. Like,
Well, it was just, I literally just I picked up the old school phone book, and I went to V and video production companies, and then went to C and went cable television companies, and just said, hey, I'm Mike. Do you need any voice work or something stupid like that? Because I was 17. I didn't have a pitch or anything. I was like, how do you get do you have in-house voice actors? And I just heard lingo from, I don't know where I got it from. I just guessed. And sure enough, people would starting to pick up. And after that, I went to the local PBS station in Dallas, Texas, the TV station, and did their fundraising drive. I did the voice for their trips to Hawaii, and like the product descriptions for all the stuff they were putting up for bids. And after that, I auditioned for other stuff. I auditioned for the voice of God for the Zola Levitt show. I was way too young for that. So 17, hi, I'm the voice of God. It didn't work.
God, it's a younger God. It's a younger God.
yeah, it's God in his teens.
Yeah, youthful. God,
It's
the
Old
origin
Testament
story.
God. Yeah, Old Testament God.
It's kind of like the young Sheldon thing, but didn't quite work out that way. So yeah, there's that, and tried out for a few other things. And then I also, I was a horrible guitar player. So I had bought a guitar, tried to play, couldn't play for anything. And I listened to this radio station that I heard in Chicago, and it was also in Dallas. It's a hard rock, heavy metal kind of radio station, which was actually network, as I found out later. And the overnight guy said, yeah, I'll buy your guitar. Why not? I'll try and play. And it's like, all right. So I drove over there and said, this would be really cool to work here. Do you know anybody that's hiring around here? And totally naive, not knowing a thing about radio or anything, broadcasting, nothing. Just, hey, anybody hiring? Like they're going to hire somebody that just says, hey, I want a job. And the thing about it is, it actually happened because he said, yeah, the guy down the hall at the Top 40 format is hiring for a producer. Try out for that. Why not? And I'm like, all right. I had no idea what that meant. So I talked to the guy and I said, you know what? I'll work for free for a week. Just hire me. I'm the guy. He's like, what do you mean you're the guy? I got all these applicants. I got all these resumes. I'm like, I'm the guy. Just teach me what you want to teach me and show me the ropes and give me a week. And if I'm terrible, fire me.
So you had like no like formal training in like
None.
Production or anything?
Nothing.
Wow.
I didn't even know what a reel-to-reel machine was. I didn't know what mic tech. I didn't know anything. I just know there's a microphone and there's a studio and the's songs and you play them. That's all I knew. Nothing.
Wow.
And he hired me and I was producing a morning show for a Top 40 network that had like 60 something affiliates within a week. And it was nuts. I was doing bits and picking songs and, taking calls. And
wow.
Like, how is this happening?
Did you ever feel at like any point like you shouldn't be here? Like
it was just,
or you just had like that much
did you have like an
confidence?
imposter syndrome? Like someone's gonna catch on.
No, I never had that. It was just one of those things where I felt like I'll just roll with this. I'm still going to school. Why not? It's something cool to do, and I'm getting paid for it. Kind of attitude. And it's like I didn't think it would be 38 something years later. I'm still doing this stuff, but here I am. But anyway, the guy that sold me the guitar, he became program director of the format down the hall for the hard rock and heavy metal thing. And he's like, yeah, why don't you work part-time? Never been on the air before other than doing bits for the morning guy. So I listened to stuff and I listened to people on the air and they threw me on a show on a national network being 18 years old or 19 years old, no experience.
Yeah.
And he's like, the music, I didn't really even have training. They just kind of threw me on the air.
Wow.
You were live, like broadcasting.
Oh, live. This is all live. This is staged. Totally live.
That's wild.
The first time you got on, was there just like dead air or you just jumped right in?
I just jumped right in and did it. I thought, I still got all the tapes from the early days, the earliest days. I got a lot of tape, but now it's digital, but tape. I'm so old. Oh my God. But
I've read about these tapes.
Yeah. They're square.
Yeah. And there's two little circles in the middle and there's the brown stuff on the bottom. And, the first, I think the second month, not barely the second month in, I was filling in because they were taping some Ozzy Osbourne interviews down the hall, pre-recorded. They're going to have the whole week's worth of Ozzy doing whatever he was going to do. I was like, oh, cool. Ozzy's in the building. Maybe I'll get an autograph later. I did, which is fun.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
But all of a sudden he walks into the studio completely unannounced. They're like, well, he's here. He's live. Might as well just do something live to promote this stuff and have fun with whoever's on the air. Again, I had barely been on the air 2 months, 19 years old. And in walks Ozzy, just, hey, how you doing? One of those, the Ozzy,
Yeah.
The whole thing.
I know the later Ozzy.
Yeah. And it was one of those things where all these record execs and network execs were peering through this little porthole window in the studio. And believe it or not, I didn't have any nerves because I earlier in the day, I heard a horrid interview from the local DJ. He was awful.
Yeah.
And he just, I'm just going to say he sucked. And I thought I could do it better than that. And I got my chance and I thought, you know what? This is my chance. I'm going to do this. And with all these people looking in the little porthole window, I'm going to nail this thing. And I did it. It was great. And the president of the network's like, who's this 19-year-old kid that's doing, who is he?
Yeah.
He's producing a morning show there. And what is going on? And he talked to my buddy who was the program director. He's like, make this guy full time. Let's find a spot for him. And then I got a spot. And it really took off from there. And I had my own full-time show. And then I was setting up promotions and interviewing all kinds of people and doing live broadcasts and jumping on stage and introducing people. And that's where the radio thing took off, and still doing voice work, through the network and other stuff.
So going back to that interview, there was no prep.
No.
Because it's the thing that you posted online, right?
Yep.
It seemed like you just had it ready.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There was zero, there wasn't even a warning. It was just, Ozzy just walked in.
And you weren't nervous at all?
No.
I was, because I kind of knew in my own head what to prepare for. It was one of those things where it was like, I heard the interview go so badly on the
traditional rock station in town. And I thought I could do better than that. We just talked about being in the movies and, weird stuff like that. Just whatever, how does a photo shoot work and, introducing songs and yelling a lot and just goofy stuff. Towards the end of the year, I got a Christmas card from Ozzy and Sharon.
No,
Get out of here.
I still got it.
No way.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever been like starstruck?
I don't know. I mean, no, I guess.
Okay. I've only been starstruck once.
Really?
Yeah. I had met James Gandolfini.
Oh,
and I was
okay.
a huge, Sopranos was my life. And I could not say anything to him. I was just like, hi. And it's
it's different kind of just approaching someone cold like that than people walking into the studio or just going to a show where you gotta, even in a situation where they used to have this record convention called the Concrete Foundations Forum, which is a weird name for a hard rock heavy metal convention, but they had it in LA every year for a few years, and going out there in the radio days and just famous people were walking past all the time. I mean, just major names. And like Lemmy from Motorhead would walk by and he'd just sit down and we'd just start talking. And it was just like, hey, how's it going? We talk about girls walking by and Jimi Hendrix and what his favorite drink is and just random stuff. It wasn't anything about how did the album sound and how's that new record come. It almost was never like that because everybody does that. And I figured, you know what? I'm going to do something that nobody else does. I'm just going to talk to people.
Yeah.
It was a lot of these people. They didn't have anything to do. I mean, some of them didn't even have a ride from the airport. I had to go pick them up. So, the record label dropped the ball. It was like the band Sepultura. They were a couple of members. They were at the airport and they're like, Mike, we don't have a ride. Nobody's here. What do we do? I'm like, I'm coming. So we went and had Mexican food and we hung out at their hotel room and just talked about music. It was, and they faxed me later. When they got to New York and said, hey, it was great having Mexican food with you and hanging out. Cool.
That's awesome. That's funny.
And now looking back on it, you go, how does did this happen? It's like a movie set constantly, but in real life. And it wasn't even like, still doesn't seem real. It's surreal. I mean, how did all this stuff happen? And even the stuff I missed is a good story. All of a sudden, I was exhausted. I worked like till 2:00 in the morning, then production and other stuff, probably like 3 or 4 in the morning. So by like 9 or 10 a.m., I'm out. I'm gone. I'm asleep.
Yeah.
And my answering machine goes off, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I hear this weird voice, and I'm like, what? Please don't play pranks on me. I'm so tired. One guy, Steve, that worked at the network, interviewed David Lee Roth, and he had Dave call my answering machine and go, hey, Mike, what's going on? It's David Lee Roth. And he did the whole Dave thing. And he's like, sorry you couldn't be here. Maybe we'll go hang out later. Hey, all right. The whole Dave thing dead on. And at first I thought it was a joke. And then I found out later on that he actually interviewed Dave, and
he's just like, "Hey, can you prank this guy? Can you just give him a call?" And
to find out it was real, it was going. I'm going. Why did I sleep through that? Or another time, Lita Ford was getting interviewed, and she said to the host, Dave, not that Dave, another Dave, where is this guy that likes to go shopping for cowboy boots? That'd be a fun time, and that would have been a fun story, but no. I slept through that. I mean, couple of bad ones that I slept through that I regret. Those are 2 of them.
Yeah. Did they try to get you to go out, hit the town with them, after? Yeah,
sometimes. I mean, it wasn't like the wild movie thing where you're crashing cars and trashing hotel rooms and stuff. A lot of times we just hung out at Denny's or something. It wasn't that exotic.
Right. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
What would they order? I wonder.
What the limited late night menu, moons over my hammy. I mean, what else is there at Denny's at 3 a.m?
When you did the radio thing, did you feel that you needed to put a persona of I need to change my voice in a certain way or I need to talk in a certain way?
Oh yeah. Well, their format was designed to be yelling and screaming over sound effects and drop-ins and stuff and zany, cartoony, not cartoony, but really over the top. Someone who would be unbearable as a real person. If you heard some of my stuff, you look my stuff up on YouTube. and look up Crazy Mike Payne, Z-Rock, and you'll hear these interviews going, oh my gosh, that guy's like way over the top. Even some of the bands are like, whoa, that's a lot too early for me to do that. And some of the record people were like, how do you do that? How do you turn it on and off? And I said, it's part of the gig. You know, you can't order, you can't order a pizza like that going, hey, I want a pizza with pepperoni and mushrooms. No, that doesn't work. And I even told him I'd be a totally awful person if I just yelled and screamed at everybody all the time. But
yeah, you have no voice.
Yeah.
Like you just be.
Yeah. Even when I blew out my voice, there was one time I blew out my voice bad, and this is stupid. I wouldn't try this at home, kids. And I still went on the air, didn't take any sick time off. Dumb. And the production director wanted to do a promo for a post live concert, credits and stuff. And he wanted me to be a mob type dude. And he's like, hey, yeah, the guy who was on the board was Tim, and Joe was the guy that he held the mic at this concert. And then all of a sudden he gets a call going, all right, we can't afford to hire new voice actors for this. And he's like, no, that was Mike. He's been sick. You haven't heard all week. He can barely talk. I thought it was some new voice actor they hired.
You should have gotten a second paycheck out of that.
Yeah, seriously.
No, that wasn't me. That was Ike. That wasn't Mike. Yeah, sorry.
Before I got hired full time, I was 3 different people, and I got 3 different paychecks. That's why the president of the company went, wait a minute, you're 3 people. This isn't going to work. We can't pay you 3 times and send you 3 whatever forms back then.
Did you guys do like callers as well?
Oh, yeah.
Like, did you get
we had callers all the time?
Was people like vetting them,
No.
or it was like
no? Our vetting process back then was, hey, Z-Rock, don't swear. That's our vetting process.
I'm sure that was effective.
It was effective, yeah. I rarely had people on live, but it wasn't that severe and harsh back then. I'd have band members call up and just say, hey, Mike, you want to talk? Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, why not? I got time. And this one guy would just start swearing, and I'm like, Phil, we're on the air. You can't do that. We got to play nice. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah. But, you can't throw the F-bomb around on network radio and not have someone get upset about it. I did that. I said shit once in the very beginning, and the program director called me up and he was laughing. He goes, that's the funniest thing you've ever done. Don't ever do it again. Okay. Got it.
That's a great boss.
Yeah. He's the one I sold the guitar to. So yeah.
So from radio, what was the transition into voice acting? Was that just kind of seamless? Did you just find new avenues, or did you make that decision, or just kind of rolled into it?
They kind of all, up until 2021, went step by step, and I was in both all the time anyway. So I went from the network to various other stations, and then I was a traffic reporter for like 11, 12 years. Not the kind in the helicopter, just the voice. Because me in a helicopter, not gonna happen. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Just holding off.
Yeah,
it's snowing. I think.
That's not me. Never's gonna be me. So yeah, putting makeup on me is not gonna work. So yeah, and then just doing voice acting. I really decided about 13, 14 years ago to really dive into voice acting for like really hardcore. And now with the advent of the big old internet in the sky, and, you could talk to anybody, anytime, anywhere around the world. That's when I really jumped back into it and thought, you know what, I can really do this a lot more with worldwide clients, because I work the other 9 to 5. I talk with people all over the world, and I got to jump on the competition because I'm up. They're not, most everybody here in the States aren't up at, 2, 3 in the morning, and they'll say, can you do an audition for this script? It's for a sushi course. And how to make sushi. And it's like, all right, yeah, I'd do it in a couple of minutes and send it out. And they're like, oh yeah, the client instantly approved. Let's start it. And it's huge. Oh, great. Let's do it.
Do you have to, is it like those unionized or associated? You have to get into those things, or how does that work?
You can be unionized. I'm not. Yeah. I never have been with voice acting. I've done it on my own since the beginning of time when reel-to-reels were things. I'm an indie person, and could I be union? I suppose, but then it kind of limits everything else. You can't do anything else, virtually anything else that I do. So everything I've done is on my own. I still do games. I still do audiobooks. I've done 56 audiobooks.
Oh, wow.
Chris has read 3 of them.
He's a big audiobook guy.
He's a big audiobook guy.
Yeah. He doesn't talk. He just listens, really.
That's okay, though. Chris, you would look at my repertoire and go, okay, you've done everything from like horoscope stuff to strength training to, sexy poetry to it's all over the map.
Oh, wow.
Have you done any Korean voice work? Maybe Chris has got that.
That would be a fantasy of mine, that I'd be a polyglot and I could speak about 30 languages. I would be the richest man in the world.
You just got to like dub over those like Squid Games movies, like why are their voices so wild? Every time you get like a dub, it's like the guy, you're like, that guy doesn't even look like that. They just pick random people.
A lot of times they have in-house dubbing. Just think of the old school. We're talking old school, like the old Speed Racer cartoons. They had like 3 people in-house that did all the voices. That's kind of like, and like the old Kung Fu movies where they had like 3 people in-house. It's like, okay, here's the one female voice. Let's have her do all the kids and the female voices. And then the 2 other guys were all the same voices. And then they were Australian on top of that. So it sounded kind of jarring to hear,
What sort of like research or practice have you done to try to like perfect your craft?
Voice acting, I kind of just have always done it with the little training I got back in 1987 and went from there, learned how to project my voice, learned how to emphasize certain things and how to read a script when there's no direction. I mean, I get that a lot where I just go, here's a script and I'm making a video and my client wants a voiceover. No idea what, and I'll just pick up the piece of paper that I print out or look at it, analyze it for a couple seconds and do it. I don't even need to pre-read them. I could just rip them off and voice them instantly. I don't even prep a lot of times just because I didn't know that sounds, that's amateurish. It's not. I've been doing it so long and read so many scripts. Right. I can see them coming, reading the first sentence. I can see them and see how it's going to go. And it's like, all right, it's like this. Okay, boom, let's do it.
So let's say for somebody that's like trying to get into the work, what would you recommend for them, like first timers?
For first timers, I would recommend going online and searching for voiceover practice scripts. And there's like thousands and thousands of them out there. Just start doing those and also listening to actual streaming, television, whatever forum, whatever medium, online, YouTube, listening to actual commercials and actual explainer videos and things that you're interested in. Or if you're interested in gaming, listening to some of the voices and how they do it. And don't mimic them, just kind of see what their style is.
Okay.
So if you've got, let's say, something that's how to connect your Bluetooth speaker, it would be a lot more simplistic and kind of run of the mill, but not boring than it would be if you're like a drill instructor in an RPG game or something. So totally different approach. Just practice with it. I would say start with, there's fan dubs everywhere where you can just, there's people just playing around. It's for free and it's great experience on dubbing as well as just voice acting. And it's not silly voices. That's if you do a Simpsons voice, because no one's ever done a Simpsons impression. I mean, that's not voice acting.
We don't want to see your Apu.
No,
okay?
No. Nobody wants to see that or hear it. The one time I was a traffic reporter and the station that carried it, the people on the air couldn't care less about traffic, and neither could I, honestly. So
wow.
I did all their traffic reports as Hank Hill, and it was just ridiculous.
Nice.
Traffic's bad. Yeah, I can't do it anymore, but I
need that for my ways.
I actually studied Hank Hill and watched all the King of the Hill episodes I could.
Yeah.
And got his mannerisms down, and it's like, all that stuff. The one other guy I filled in for, Fred Winston, he's a well-known legendary DJ in the Chicago area, and I filled in and did traffic for him, and I'd be the Greek waiter, and he just wanted to do this bit with the Greek waiter doing the traffic and just like pushed the traffic reporter out of the studio and wandered in and going, "Hi, traffic is how do you say bad? Too many cars. No, too many. So yeah, and it's just stuff like that you just come up with, and it's fun. That's the radio side of things, the creative part. So many people get so focused on this. Oh my God, what am I going to just have fun with it? I mean, I still do that now.
How do you project your voice? How do you like develop your voice? Because I've got like that nasally, like young Ray Romano. Like it's, people read it, they're like, yeah, all right.
We all have the nasally thing. That's just called waking up in the morning. I mean, seriously, or waking up from a nap or whatever it is. It's like, or getting, just trying to wake up. It's not so much that, and there's no such thing as a perfect. I mean, I've got the whole old school announcery thing going for me, but other than that, it's not like it used to be where you had to sound like this to be on, and you don't have to do that anymore.
Like a 1920s radio guy.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
No, but you don't have to sound like that anymore.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You just sound like you. And now with the advent of AI, so many people say, I want to hear real voices, and they want to hear emotion, inflection, and attitude. And that's something AI doesn't have. And we've all heard the really bad YouTube videos with AI in them, and they're cringy.
Yeah.
And some that are passable, sort of, but no emotion at all. It's just a cold, dead read, and nobody wants to hear that. So that's why I think it's kind of cool that when you go in there and go, yeah, I can do better than that. And that's kind of when I coach people with voice acting, I say that. I said, can you do better than this? Oh, yeah. Well, then do it. You can do it. So, Rob, the answer to your question is, yeah, go do it. Seriously. I mean, it's not that overwhelming where you get a microphone, get a setup, get some headphones, and start going right away. It's not this, you got to train for 50 years and, go through the Matrix and, dodge Keanu Reeves, and there's a labyrinth and you got to get the secret green crystal. It's not all of that. I mean, there's some people that'll have you believe that. It's not all that,
Can you share with us any vocal warm-ups if you have any?
Yes. I actually teach this because a lot of people don't know how to warm up, believe it or not. No, what I do to warm up is the simplest thing. It's what all the survey companies do with food tasting. They take a bite of cracker and a drink of water between every food tasting. It cleans the palate. It gets rid of all of the mouth impurities and the mouth noise, which is a benefit. And it's actually the simplest thing. And yeah, you can do the tea with lemon or honey as you're talking more, but bite a cracker, drink of water, and sit for a minute, and then boom, you're ready to go. And I mean, I've got my water sitting here. It's just a mug of water right now. I don't do anything that complicated. Other than that, don't have like a Milky Way, a milkshake, and a piece of pizza and a cup of coffee before you go into the studio. Nothing dairy, nothing, coffee, nothing that'll mess up your palate and make you all clicky and chopping. And nobody wants to hear like you're chewing. So,
Chris, interesting.
Yeah.
Now they send you the stuff and you record it on your own and then just send it in as you complete it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't even go to the studio anymore.
No,
it's like,
I haven't been to a studio in 100 years. I mean, yeah, I do everything remote. I work with companies all over the world and coach students all over the world. I had a student last week who wanted to know how to narrate his YouTube videos better. We're just talking about. And he said, Are you available now? And beauty of the internet, why I am right here. How about 5 minutes? So he set up a Zoom thing, and in 5 minutes, didn't know a thing about him, and he just shared his information. And I said, okay, let me watch your video with you. And I pointed out things with him and said, here's what you need to do. And here's where you need to, you've got a good start. You already know what you're doing, and kind of fine-tuned him, and off he's running. And now he's doing his YouTube channel. So there you go. I mean, it sounds simpler than it is. It was a lot more detailed, but that was kind of how it worked. He's in Australia, and he's like, can we talk now? Yeah, sure.
Do you have a bunch of voices that you keep in your back pocket, and you read something, you're like, all right, I'm going to go with this one, or I'm going to use this, or you just tailor it to every job? Yeah,
it depends on if I get no direction, I kind of have to play creative mindset and what would this script sound like? What should it sound like? Usually those are the explaining something, a product, a service. ABC company is the best company in the world, and here's why. In one of those kind of things. Mm-hmm. And other than that, like my own demos, some people have like one or two demos of their voice. I have probably 100 and a little over 100. I have niche reels everywhere from like a pirate voice to a Santa voice. I have a male enhancement voice. I have
but there's a separate male enhancement.
There is. It's the late night infomercial voice that you see at about 4 a.m.
Is that eugenics?
If you need a blue pill, here's where to get yours for only 68 cents each. Yeah. The late night on Comedy Central when you're watching that rerun of whatever for the 50th time. And yeah, that commercial comes on. I've done some of those, not a lot, but a few of those.
How do you get you just practice like dialects, like German, like you get those German ones or Jamaican, you get all the, man.
Yeah.
Or you just watch tons of videos and try to say those words.
Yeah. I do a ton of work with Chinese companies and they don't give you pronunciations for the proper names and places. So I have a folder in a library full of pronunciations. So I can refer to that. And there's websites out there where you can check out and just, type in the name and watch the video. Or there's a website called Forvo, Forvo, where you type in a word or a name or a place, and it'll give you the pronunciation from people out in those countries. So that helps me a ton. And I'll come up with some German company. It's like, whoa. And I hit the brakes in the script going, I can't say that. What is that? So I look it up and go, oh, okay. And figure it out. And there's some accents that sound hacky and I can't do them and I can't pretend to do them. Like if I tried a Jamaican accent, that'd be embarrassing. Yeah. So and there's sometimes I get requests for things like, can you do the voice of a Norwegian boy who's about 7 years old? No, I can't. Absolutely not. No way.
8 years old, maybe 7. No.
Yeah, 7.
I draw the line. Yeah.
I did have to do a voiceover for a commercial in the radio days for a circus. And I had to be the voice of the 5-year-old kid. And it was so embarrassing. I'm like, I kept trying to tell him, I can't listen to my voice. Do you think I can pull off a 5-year-old kid's voice? And the line was, I still have a line somewhere. It's like, and I'm here to watch the big snake. And that's about how it sounded. And they're like, that was brilliant. It was? Are you sure? And here's this commercial playing all over the area that's going, I want to see that big snake. Oh, so embarrassing. Yeah.
You gotta put out the cigarette. I gotta see this big snake.
And you know what? The client's happy.
Yeah, you liked it.
I had one client say, okay, I want you to voice this talking house real estate script. Fine. And I get to the first line and it's like, hi, I'm Stephanie Smith. Whoa. All right. So I can't do a female. And I contacted him and said, okay, maybe you sent the wrong script, or is this the right script, or should I change the name? And they're like, no, we want you to say, hi, I'm Stephanie Smith in those words. Okay. Hi, I'm Stephanie Smith. And this house on 123 Main Street is just beautiful. And they loved it. Okay. I don't know how Stephanie Smith's going to feel about it, but all right.
Are any particular gigs that you look for over the one the other?
Well, sure. Yeah. I love to do games. I love to do apps. I love to do stuff that's fun and kind of challenging. I voiced a D-Day tour in Normandy, France, and that's very cool. Museum voice, the English speaking voice of museums around the world. Just odd things like an aquarium announcements for the dolphin show in China. Just please take your seats. That kind of stuff. It's just quirky but weird but cool. There's I did an airport announcements, in-flight announcements for a couple of Chinese airliners. So that would be weird if I ever got out there and heard myself do the announcements. But
I was just about to ask you, have you ever just accidentally ran into your own voice?
Yes, I did. When I was doing a radio station in suburban Chicago, we were voice tracked and we recorded things ahead of time back then, and they still do now, but that was kind of a new thing back then. So I recorded all my tracks for the weekend, and then my wife and I went to the 7-Eleven, and my show was on because they had the station on, and I'm talking to myself, and then I said, yeah, I'll have a couple of Cokes and something and whatever we bought, and he's looking up at the speaker, looking at me, looking at the speaker, looking at me, going, oh, that'll be $4.76. So yeah, it was weird. And then you hear the speakers that they get by the gas pumps because they have the radio station on, and then we're listening to me talking our way out of the gas station. It was weird, but different. I guess it was cool. I mean, kind of weird.
I remember when we first did the podcast, and then we would, I listened to the episodes. At first, I couldn't listen to myself.
Oh yeah.
But now Yeah, now I'm just like, yeah, whatever. And it's just like a regular thing. Did you run into that, or do more and more people run into that?
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of it is getting over listening to yourself. It's once you're comfortable with your own voice, then that's one of the biggest hurdles to overcome, being a voice actor or radio personality or TV personality or anything like that. So yeah, it's just a matter of being comfortable with who you are and going, hey, you know what? I can do this. So what? No big deal. Don't over criticize and don't overthink it.
Are there any like current voice actors now that you're like, oh man, he's good or she's good, or like that you kind of listen? Other than you. Well, other than you.
What kind of question is that?
No, besides me, a couple of good ones. One of them, he's done tons of voice acting, and he was my intern actually at Z-Rock, is Kyle Hebert. He's awesome. Kira Buckland is one of the best known voice actors out there. A couple other ones they're really good, but those two are great. So yeah, and me.
Yeah, I gotta imagine it's like a small community of like you guys all know each other. Like, you hear a commercial and you're like, oh, that's a good one. He did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, what is a good voice actor?
It's a blessing and a curse to have a good ear. And now I've, not only me, but my wife we have such good ears with listening to hacky edits and terrible flubs and stuff. And we just heard a weather forecast this afternoon, and she said, the weather system today is going to be potent. So, oh God, did she say potent? How old are you? Don't say potent. And there was a commercial here in Chicago that ran for a plumbing company, for a HVAC plumbing company for years. And it says, ABC Pluming, Roofing, and HVAC, whatever it said, pluming. And it ran for years and no one caught it. Pluming instead of plumbing. Really?
Yeah.
In the third biggest city in the country, pluming. And you let that, and nobody caught it. The client, the producer, the station, nobody for like 3 years. It's still on YouTube somewhere. I still laugh at it.
Listen, plumers are high in the
yeah, plumers are killing it right now. They can charge anything they want.
Yeah, I'd like to get paid for plume.
So I don't know if it's something that I did or something that I looked up, but for like a while, Instagram was like giving me ads for like voiceover schools. Mm-hmm. Are those legit, or are they worth it, or in your opinion?
The short answer is most of them, I'm just going to say, are not. It's a lot. It's remember the old modeling schools where they would have the things at the Holiday Inn and, oh, well, you could be a model too. All you need to do is buy our photo service, which is like, $900, and take pictures with our photographer. And then, it's broadcasting schools are the same way. They still are out there that'll say, oh, you could be on the air. No, you can't. I mean, not with no training. You just jump on they give these people, they take their $25,000 and or more for some of these tuitions for broadcasting school. Yeah. And it's horrible. I mean, with the voice acting thing, there are people out there that are legit, probably. I don't really know anybody else that teaches stuff. I don't really honestly care that much. I do my own thing. I don't pattern myself after anybody else. I tell the truth. I shoot from the hip. I don't gatekeep. I don't have any secret information hidden behind a cave with 7 keys to open the door. And I'm honest. I'll tell you what, like just now, I'll tell you guys whatever you want to know. I mean, seriously, I don't have any problem with that. And I help people from all walks of life with my coaching. So I've had people from very beginning to just buying a new mic to people well on their way that have done stuff before. And they're just thinking, I need to know, Mike, I need to know. They'll have specific questions. Mike, I need to know the business of it. Where do I find clients? Okay, let's do that. And I'll set up a course. It's, $30 for 30 minutes. So we'll talk for an hour. I usually give them the extra 30. What the heck? So yeah, for $30, I'll tell you what I need, everything I know. It's not a big deal. I'm not out there to, these people that pay, $2, $3, $4 for one demo reel. It's like, I don't know about you guys, but I don't have several mortgage payments to blow on a demo reel.
For something that's not even guaranteed, really. Right. Like, you're not guaranteeing me work. No. You're just saying, I'm just going to teach you a few things and then send you out to the world.
And the guys that come out and say, oh, well, if you get my demo reel, you're going to get work with, a big if they promise you that, just run the other direction, because that's not a thing. It's like the broadcasting schools that say, you'll be on the air in a big city in no time. No, you won't. It's not how it works. Forget my story. My story was before the internet and everything else, and that was just a crazy path that actually somehow worked. I say that, don't do it, because I did it somehow, and naive, and whatever it was, but it worked. And, you know, my naivete got me there and my talent kept me there, I guess.
You're voice acting, you're on the radio, you have all these, you know, clients, you're coaching.
Yeah.
What time do you wake up in the morning? Like, what does your day look like?
What time do I wake up in the morning? Yeah. Well, yeah, I get my goal on and I drink my coffee. No, honestly, I work the other 9 to 5. So I get up at 11:30ish in the morning. I mean, it sounds like I'm a slacker, but when you sleep at 6, that's not that, not that much. So I work with people on the other side of the world. So usually my day is, the other 9 to 5. And it's a lot easier to deal with people then. And I don't have this whole big motivational sayings on my wall in front of me that say, go get them. And, life is about a cup of coffee and your attitude.
Neither do we.
And I don't have any of that. I don't need science to tell me how to do my day. I do them myself.
So for the scripts coming in, I mean, are you running the business yourself? Do you have to get a manager? Do you have to get how does that work as far as just finding you? How do they find you?
Well, I have my own website. I have a lot of freelancer sites that I'm on, and the customers that clients that I've been with for a long time, they know me, and we exchange emails and stuff like that too. So I've been with some people 10, 12 years plus, and they just say, "Hey, Mike," they'll come out of the blue. I'll not hear from them in 6 months, and they're like, "Hey, Mike, how's it going? Hey, can you do this for me?" And I work with people from all over the country and the world, and something like there's a wood flooring place that teaches people all about wood flooring and the genesis of it and how to install it. And it's the biggest wood flooring place in the country. And they won't pop up for another several months. But when they do, they throw me a bunch of scripts and I do all their training videos. So it's one of those cool things that's that doesn't sound like it sizzles off the screen, but it feels so cool to be able to do something like that. And I just finally got an agent actually for the first time in my life a month ago. And it's kind of a trial thing. But you don't really need an agent. I haven't gotten any parts or gigs from it yet. We'll see what happens. But, it's one of those things where you can do it yourself now. It's not the old school. You have to be represented by a talent agent and you have to have them do this and you have to join the union and you have to. Yes, you can. And you could do all of those things, but that's not a guarantee. And that's not the only route to success. A lot of indie people have great success and can make a living with doing this. And I do it and other people can do it. And there's varying degrees. I mean, you could have this as a side hustle. That's the thing to do. You could have this as it started as a side hustle and develop it. And then maybe you'll get better and better at it and get bigger and bigger. And you may not need that extra job, that kind of thing. So there's so many different roads you can take with this, which is the beauty of it. I mean, you don't have to go, well, you have to go this route and that's the only way you can go. It's not like that anymore.
What's the most common problem, I guess, students kind of bring to you?
Lack of confidence in their own voice and being able to project on the microphone and knowing that voice acting is all acting, even if it's just church announcements or a voicemail, it's all acting. You're playing a part. So you have to be an actor. It's not just doing imitations. And that's kind of doing something from SpongeBob is a voice from SpongeBob isn't a voice acting career. You have to be able to have depth. You have to have versatility and know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And if you find your strengths, start with your strengths and then work outward from there and then kind of see where, I did stuff that I don't prefer to do. I mean, for me, fiction audiobooks, I don't mind doing them, but I'm much stronger at the nonfiction stuff. That's just my thing. It doesn't mean fiction's bad. I just found out that I did some fiction. It worked out all right, but I'm better at nonfiction.
And like I'm assuming because you have to do like characters for like different.
Yeah. I mean, there was one series of audiobooks I did. I was at 11 or 13 characters I had to keep straight at all times.
Whoa.
And that's tough. And then the first person narration on top of that. So you have to go from a three-way conversation and keep it all straight and keep it all believable. So what you do is you take a snippet of each individual voice, and sometimes they won't come in until like the werewolf is in book 1 and then doesn't come back until book 3. And it's like, what is the werewolf? How long ago was that? So you keep a snippet of werewolf and you just title it werewolf and point of reference and go, oh, all right. Then you stop and do the werewolf voice. And I say werewolf because I did a weird series of audiobooks that was kind of like Twilight meets 50 Shades of Grey. It was very unusual.
Wow.
It was fun. It was a different experience. I thought I'd dip my toe in the water for that. It was like mostly Twilight-ish, and then all of a sudden it would get a little racy in spots, and it's like, that kind of came out of left field, but all right.
Is this the same book?
Yeah.
Ask the narrator.
Yeah, it was the narrator. It was like something to do with office supplies and yeah. So and some of the stuff you don't expect is like one of my biggest selling audiobooks is How to Play Cornhole. Go figure.
You're the cornhole voice guy?
You're the cornhole guy.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
We should have led with that.
You know?
When you do like deals like that, like audiobooks, is there royalties with that, or is it just one on? Okay.
Yeah, there's
sure
various ways.
how they usually do.
Yeah,
those.
exactly. There's various ways to do that. With ACX, which is a website that handles all the Audible books, you could either do royalty share plus, or paid per hour. And a lot of people shy away from the royalty because you are rolling the dice. I mean, I've done audiobooks that have sold one copy. You got to do a little research and think about, I do nonfiction stuff that sells, that's never going to go bad. Workouts, recipe books, how-to books that aren't time sensitive, like, how to start up your Windows Vista isn't going to sell any copies right now. So,
It's coming back.
It's coming. It really was the best Windows.
It's due.
Yeah. So, or super niche ones like, which parks are the best in Columbus, Ohio? I mean, I think 6 people might be interested in that. Well, that's Columbus, Ohio, but is that going to sell a lot for me? No. And it's royalty? No. But other stuff, yeah. I mean, that's the how-to stuff is great. And again, these are things that I just tell people. I don't, hold these secret information. So yeah, the answer to that is I like royalty, especially the shorter titles, because you could build up a resume really quickly. And 56 audiobooks sounds good, and it is. And the way I did that is, at first I took everything, literally, going, judging by some of the weird stuff I voiced. But then you kind of find your lane and go, yeah, these do well and these sell. And then years later, I mean, I still get sales from stuff I've done 10, 12, 13 years ago.
Sometimes when I'm like preparing for for an episode, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going through my script perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We start recording and I get stuck on some of these words.
Mm-hmm.
The other day I couldn't say, what was it? Emancipation
Proclamation.
Yeah. Do you have any tips, or like, have you ever do you get stuck on some words as you're reading it, or like, how do you get through it?
The one word I hate the most is community. It always sounds like I'm saying me. I get stuck on that one all the time. There's certain words that was the biggie, but there's a couple of words that pop up and you're just going, it doesn't sound natural as a word to begin. Like community is just like, so I don't, and that one I always have to stop. I flub that word all the time. I'll be honest. I do. I flub that one. You just kind of got to stop and kind of reset it and go, okay, I'm just going to do the sentence again. And just kind of, there's sometimes I stop a script. I'll walk away from the computer for a while and come back, get a drink of water and come back and go, all right, now I'm clear. Cause I'll flub it 5 times in a row going, all right, this is too much. Let's just start over again.
Yeah.
So it's normal, Caesar.
It is normal.
I'm going to walk away from you guys. Or just
you need to eat your cracker and drink your water.
I'm going to start doing that.
You're over there drinking your protein shake.
It is protein shake.
Yeah.
It's not going to help
protein shake and a pizza. And you're over here thinking you're going to get it done.
Or you get the giggles and you read something that sounds funny and, you're like, okay. That's like the first time I read that NSFW series and I started reading some of the it was normal. And then all of a sudden it's like, what are you doing with those office supplies? A ruler? No. Okay. Hold on. I gotta, all right. I had to kind of clear my head and go, all right, let's just do it in a voice.
I got to take this. Yeah. I got to take this seriously.
Yeah.
You ever miss the radio?
I do miss the in-person thing when it was fun back then. And now it's all kind of like pretty much 3 corporations own almost all the radio stations, and radio isn't what it was. I mean, now it's podcasting, obviously. So it would be fun to do that. I mean, I'm going to have one of my own pretty soon.
Nice.
Yeah, but
do you have a name for it? Should we be looking out for something?
It's a Rock Your Voice Confidence from Payne. And it's about teaching self-confidence and finding your inner voice. We were talking about a little earlier. Mm-hmm. And voice acting is probably 75% confidence training and 25% technical. And I have so many people just say, Mike, I just want to talk about, how to talk on the phone to people or how to go to a meeting and talk to someone. It has nothing to do with voice acting. So I thought, you know what? I might as well start doing this. I mean, I'm doing it anyway. I might as well just have a podcast about it and see what happens. Maybe I could help some more people. Who knows? Yeah.
I see a lot of obviously we don't have the setup for this, but I've seen other podcasts when they're looking for that viral moment. Like, share me that story that they didn't want to tell.
I got a story for you, a real quick story.
Go for it.
That I've probably only people that know me know this story. And I was at the heavy metal convention, the Concrete Foundations Forum in 1990. And I was interviewing Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. And he had all kinds of weird. I was just asking him, hey, Dave, how's it going? How's the tour going? I heard you did a kind of a pre-tour gig in Fresno, and that was one of our affiliates. How did that go? It's like, what are you, high? And he just out of nowhere, he had all kinds of attitude. And I asked him a couple more questions. He had this attitude. And the guitar player at the time, Marty Friedman, I knew him from other bands. And I just started talking to Marty, and I said, yeah, Marty, you have a guitar sound that Megadeth never had before. So I got a little combative with Dave. Yeah. And then it became a big thing. And then I heard it. He was kind of shit talking me at different places. Like one of my friends in Kansas City at the show, they overheard him shit talking me. And it's like, well, I asked him simple questions. I didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Right.
So then it became a thing on the air, and I started, honestly, probably a bad idea, but he got me a little annoyed. So I said, "Oh, I've got a new demo from the vocal demo from Dave Mustaine's new Megadeth album. I play a baby crying, and and this is on national radio, and I'd have like a baby going goo goo goo. Oh, maybe I could interview Dave Mustaine next week. I think here's a preview. So, and then it finally came to a head when it was the Clash of the Titans tour. It was Slayer, Megadeth, Anthrax, and Alice in Chains. And we were all hanging out. We were shooting hoops in the back. Anthrax, great guys. I love them. Slayer, everybody was just, I didn't know Alice in Chains that well, but mostly Anthrax. We were just shooting hoops in the back, and Dave's all prepared, and he's walking past, and he's just scowling and staring at us and gives me a look. And then everyone's like, Dave, dude, come shoot some hoops. What's up? And he's just like, he's better now. I think those were in his days where he was heavily influenced by outside sources, let's just say, I think. So yeah, I've heard stories.
I'm sure that was like the norm for a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so that was a whole thing, and me and Dave Mustaine, and that it kind of ended there because I let it alone, and it's like, all right, I'm not going to keep this thing going.
Honestly, something I can't stand about the radio, and it's partly the reason why I stopped listening to just like regular radio, is morning shows. I don't want to hear people just talking about nonsense every morning. I'd rather just listen to music.
Oh, yeah, the old morning zoo and the old school, the Chuckle Hut, as I call them. It's cringy. It's forced bits, and you have to, they're like, oh, let's call the bakery and see if they have donuts. Oh God, please no.
Really, they're scripted. Those are scripted.
Everything's scripted now. I mean, a lot of it was scripted too. I couldn't stand that. Just so hacky and contrived and non-genuine, and it's like a bad audition for a comedy set. You just go, "Ooh, that bombed. That didn't work." So yeah, I couldn't. I haven't listened to regular radio in 1,000 years. I've had Sirius XM since 2004. I was one of the first ones to get it, and I've listened to it ever since because we used to have the theory of, in the radio days, in the hard rock metal days, to get in, get out, say what you got to say and get out real fast. It's not, be funny, be fast, and get out. And there's some people that love in 1979, Tom Petty washed his car with a chamois, and he used a wax that wasn't turtle wax. Like, why do I care? Can you just play Tom Petty for God's sakes? I don't care about his car. Yeah. I don't care about what you bought for groceries today. Just play the song. And you just want to play the song. Yeah. So I never liked that. I always liked and there's some stations that do that on Sirius XM. It's like boom, boom, song, done, great, awesome. Even better if there's, less words than that. Hey, here's a cool tune, love it. It's great, sounds good, bam, right into it.
Mike, thank you so much for joining us. Like, I loved having you on. If someone wants to reach out to you, where can they find you? Well,
first of all, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. I love being here. Talk to you guys anytime. If you want to get a hold of me, I'm at Mike Payne. That's Paine coaching.card, CARRD.co. You can find me on, you can listen to my stuff, soundcloud.com/Mike-Payne-show. YouTube, you can find me at Mike Payne, Paine 6287. And if you Google search or YouTube search Crazy Mike Payne, Z-Rock, you'll be able to hear a lot of my old wild interviews that have been remastered, that I remastered, and it's been posted. So yeah, you can hear some of the weirdness that I did back then.
And the podcast, man.
And the podcast. I'll be on motivatingradio.com, and my podcast is coming soon. So be on the lookout for that. I will be everywhere, even more everywhere than I am now.
Well, if you need 4 guys to talk about insecurities,
I got you. I got you. Definitely. Yeah.
That I need to hear.
You want 4?
But thanks, guys. This is great. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Final thoughts. Chris?
That was really cool. That was a pretty good interview. There's some stuff that he's mentioned about the field or the industry with the voice acting. I have no idea. Like, I have no idea what anything about that field. So it was pretty interesting to hear what he had to say about it, and then all the ins and outs about in that industry. So yeah, I had a great time.
Caesar?
I had a great time, and I didn't know about
Did everyone have a great time here?
I had a great time as well.
Messing around, Chris. No, I really wanted to talk to him about, because I'm thinking about potentially doing a little side voice acting, and I wanted to get some little tips and strategies. I think the biggest takeaway that I got from this was when he mentioned it's 75% confidence, and that I got to work on. 25% might be technical, which anyone can get, but that 75% confidence thing, it's big. And I think that's one of the biggest key takeaways that I'm gonna take away from this. Other than that, like the crackers, that's a good little tidbit to know. Crackers on the juice or crackers water. But yeah.
And Rob.
Reading about Mike, and you can tell he's a professional, comes in, obviously the confidence, but it's the energy, things that I feel like are taught, but he just does them better. It's funny to hear though stories about like, he still struggles on certain words, or he goes through the same types of things that we go through and continue to go through. And we ran into a lot when we first started, but just got to jump right in. Like he said, there is coaching, there is ways to perfect your craft, obviously. But yeah, it was great to have him on, talked about radio, talked about his, how he got into it and how he started. I mean, it just seems like that is a right place, right time, for the time type of deal. And I mean, as a 19-year-old kid going through all that, it's pretty awesome.
We want to thank you for listening. But wait, before you go, I want you to find that share button and send this podcast to a friend and let them know that you have found the podcast with the funniest and most handsome people on Spotify. Also, check out our YouTube channel at I'm Not Dumb But Podcast for more fun content. Until next time, stay curious. Later.
Cranking it up on Z-Rock, looking for trouble!